Atur sir, and also my another friend, Swapnali. It's really nice to be back in this auditorium. I always cherish the good memories of this place. Every time I pass on the freeway, I always never forget to turn on the left and see this building. You are very privileged, just like us. You at DIFR, we are on the shore, and you people too are on the shore. Of course, we don't share such an illustrious neighbor like you do, but otherwise, that's very common. But I must also say that my bonding with this college has become much stronger about 8 or 9 months back, when one of your students entered our house as our daughter-in-law. So now Father Agnal Bandra is not just any other college that I go and visit, but it's also a place where produced one of the best human beings, and we love her so much, and is all kind of credit goes to you as faculties and who groomed her to be a nice human being. So with all that good thoughts, let me share some of my thoughts on today's topic. I guess it's what happened. Of course, this is not the topic on which sort of I work in my office, but this is something which is specially given by Swapnali. So, talking about the technology vision, sometimes we call TB. This is more commonly abbreviation 2035, and what kind of potential that it offers for innovation. And Sir mentioned this morning just a while ago. And it's very nice the way he connected up things, the synergy, which is the theme of, I understand, this event today. And nothing can be more exemplified better than what he mentioned in terms of synergy is what we do or what we did a while ago, that whatever can't be done by a group of people or a single person can be kind of achieved. We did that in 2012. I was working on a project at what is called LHC at CERN. Some of you must have heard. We discovered then what was called as the Higgs boson, or more commonly it is called God particle. And the person who actually kind of theorized about existence of such Higgs field, named after him, of course, by name Peter Higgs, way back in 1960s. But it took almost 55 to 60 years for him. I mean, he had to wait for someone else to kind of discover it and prove that it actually what he theorized was correct. Okay, and this really took a synergy of 7,000 scientists working on a single experiment. And there were two papers, which two independent experiments without sharing any of the secrets of how they are doing these experiments. Finally, when we all met in one common room like this, and both of us kind of announced the result, so that is what really meant to say 3,500 scientists independently, two groups of them, using completely different techniques, speaking different languages, coming from different countries, did all that, and when you actually looked up one natural phenomena that was happening for 60 years, after this man was actually theorized, and both of us got bang on the so-called mass of this particular particle, exactly same as if we copied from each other. And now that is what is called synergy. That really tells us that nature, whatever happens if you even approach by multiple ways, by putting all your energies together, you actually reach something which is a big, grandeur. In fact, Sir mentioned about Newton. So the picture really, and the another quote, equally famous quote from Newton, is to say that, we all add to the truth bit by bit, and when you actually add them up, the bigger picture of, grandeur picture of the nature comes in picture, right? So, and that is the same. I mean, you can keep on talking about this forever. So, but I'm afraid I will have to stop this, because then the main topic probably gets kind of sidelined. So, let me say that this institute called TIFAC, which most of us call fondly, this stands for Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council. This is a very, very important enterprise that happened way back in 1980s, The committee called Technology Policy Implementation Committee has actually recommended one such in 1988 under the Department of Science and Technology. This particular TFAC has come into being. Actually, you can kind of see roughly what this main purpose of this for, but it was mandated to kind of assess the state of the art technology as it exists at this moment and use that future directions for technological development in India, right? And now when I say technological development in India, often we get carried away by saying only the what can happen through the technology developments, but there is also a very strong bonding correlation when you talk about a society at large, because then the socio-economic sectors also start playing a role. It's not just always availability of a technology that will make a progress, but you also have to kind of again synergize the other aspects together to kind of see the prosperity of the country. Now, this is actually this particular effect was not again a single person body, but it was governed by a council which has many eminent experts from government, R&D institutions, academia like yours, and industry, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'll kind of show maybe towards the end a slide on how this was formed. Now, of course, as I said, one of the main ideas is some kind of technology foresight. The committee should be able to kind of visionize, right? Visioning kind of exercise, maybe look at road mapping, how we want to move further, look at way beyond or close to the horizon, scanning technology assessment, and also to some extent various techno-market survey reports, and ultimately say that how we are prepared, let us say, for tomorrow by doing a manpower development or training of people and so on and so forth. So the vision is quite broad, but what is most important is you really wanted to kind of say that I should be able to capture the aspirations of the country. First, I want to capture what we want, what the country wants, and then give a solution which is sometimes we call thinking solution, and ultimately say that, okay, now that it is done, we want to nurture the innovations that happen. So these are the three phases of this particular committee under which a lot of work was done. Obviously, as I said, this was formed way back in 1988, but the so-called TP 2035, that has been kind of in possession of the government from early like 2015 or 2016 and so on. Now, I already mentioned to you a little bit about what is the philosophy of or vision of such an institute, such a formation of a committee, but I wanted to kind of say that this is not something, an exercise like what a planning commission is to do, right, or what various other committees in the governments do, namely looking at, a kind of foresight exercise, or you say that, what you want to predict how the country is going to happen, move together in the technology space, how you want to forecast certain thing, if this is today like this, and what is going to happen 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, etc. But then this is rather, nebulous, rather it's not exactly very sharp in the way of looking at, I would call a bit amorphous. But then, so what is this purpose is serving then? If it is not a very well-defined document that you have in your hand and you want to go as a roadmap, then what it is actually doing is generally looking at capturing the dreams of this country, basically looking at today we are here, we capture what we are today, and we want to kind of head towards where there is a technology and socio-economic, kind of matrix that kind of form what we want to kind of see in future. So therefore, it doesn't really give a very distinct, let us say, shape with a very sharp boundaries of what it wants to be, but rather want to give a direction into which we take along just not only the technology improvements, but we take along people and improving in the process as a overall improvement of the standards of living of all of us. Okay, just like TV 35, I also made a little bit vague a kind of feeling of what this is for. But here is a slightly more concrete picture by way of defining what this is made of in terms of components. This is what we learned usually in colleges, right? We actually describe a particular process or stuff or document or whatever it is in terms of the key components of it. So this is what I already told you just now. He said you start with what we are, retrospect, and look at where are we right now, what is the technology space, what is happening to the country, what is happening to the engineering field, science field, industrial field, and so on.